Hi everyone, I'm Ingeborg Krukkert, Sanitation and Hygiene Specialist at IRC, and I want to talk about monitoring. Oh no, maybe some of you may now think, monitoring, that's really boring. Because sometimes when I talk to people about monitoring, I see them look around trying to look for another partner to have nice conversations with, but not about monitoring. But then when I talk, for example, about how in Bangladesh more than 66 million people are reached for their water and sanitation programs, or when I talk about that more than 35 million people have access to clean toilets, they really are stunned. And when I tell them that it's not only like the rich people who have access to toilets, but it's equally with the poor, the non-poor, and even the ultra-poor have equal access to toilets in Bangladesh. And then they're not even stunned, but they also get a bit suspicious. They think, really, that's really a lot. So how do you know? Do you really know that all these people have access to toilets? And actually, yes, we do know, because we monitor. So how boring is that? So I thought monitoring has a bit of maybe a dull imago. People often think about monitoring, about counting, about numbers. But you can do so much more with monitoring. So we can actually prove that people positively change behaviors or not by monitoring it. So how does this monitoring tool look like? This monitoring tool in which you can actually measure qualitative data like processes. This tool works with steps, and every step is a kind of a mini story, a mini scenario. So, and it's steps that go up. It's like a ladder. So the first level, or the level really down below, is the level in which you have nothing. And if I give an example to make it more clear how it looks like, is you can measure, for example, empowerment of women by looking at how they perform in a WASH committee, in a water and sanitation committee at the village level. So often when these committees are developed, men are asked to take part or participate in such a committee, and also women are asked to participate in such a committee. But can you actually tell if women play an active role? So in order to measure that, there is a scale using these qualitative monitoring tool in which the lowest level says women do not come, women are not registered, so they're not part of the village WASH committee, so there's nothing. So then the first step would be, okay, women are registered. And then you have a second step, okay, women are registered, part of the committee, and they actually speak in meetings. So that would, for example, be like the benchmark, the thing you would like to have as a minimum. And then you can go even a step further. Okay, women speak, but they also actually influence maybe one or two decisions in the past year. And in an ideal situation, for example, it would really be joint decision-making of men and women. So these levels from 0 to 4 can be quantified, so you can actually measure these kind of you can actually measure progress in these kind of processes over time and throughout the whole country and even within countries. So we have these 5 scenarios, but each scenario is developed in close collaboration with the program staff, with the communities at the local level, because it is very important that each scenario makes sense for that particular situation. So for what I gave as an example for the role of women in a WASH committee, probably the level 1, like that women are registered at a committee, that would be very different, for example, in Bhutan, because there's maybe a very specific situation. So in each country, and sometimes even in each district, depending on how that works in a country, you have to decide what is actually the next step to bring us to a higher level. And this is what needs to be discussed locally. And that is also part of the process, to do it in a participatory way. And also what is very important is that each next step has only one additional element, because that really makes it possible to quantify this qualitative data and to make it possible to compare it with other situations. So why is this tool useful, and for who? I think it is useful for many different purposes and audiences. And I would say in the first place it is very important for the communities themselves, because they can see for themselves, I'm now at this level too, but I'm really not satisfied with this level, because we really want to make sure that we have equal participation, both men and women, in our committees. So what is it we need to do to come to that level? And they can easily see, because of the scenarios they developed at that local level, that they only need to do maybe make sure that also women can influence decision making. The tool is also very important and useful for programs, because they can focus very specifically on issues to improve their program. In the example I gave for these committees and the role of women in those committees, if in a program or in a particular area the women do come to meetings but they don't speak out, then for a program they know they have to focus on maybe facilitating the women or training the women to help them to speak up and see what exactly is the issue, why they don't speak up. So they can focus very specifically on improvements in their program. It is also, of course, for donors a very interesting tool, because donors always want to know if their money is well spent and if they really achieve what they intended to when they gave the money to this specific program. And for the sector as a whole, I think it's also very important, because the sector wants to know more than just numbers. They want to know more than so many toilets are built. They want to know if these toilets are actually used. They want to see if there's really a change in the society to make sure that people have access to services all the time, and that everyone has access to services and also use these services. And this qualitative monitoring system, also called QIS, it's been used in many countries already, in Africa and Asia, for example in Bangladesh, in Indonesia, in Ghana. And I really would like to encourage you to look at the IRC website for more information on this, I think, exciting monitoring tool.